Texas shooting prompting new calls for armed volunteers in churches. Texas passed a law in June waiving state requirements on training, licensing, and background checks for volunteer security services. Let's bring in Chuck Chadwick. He's president of the National Organization of Church Security and Safety Management. I'm glad that you could be here today, sir. Why did you decide to start this organization?
Well, about 15 years ago, I was the director of security for a large mega church in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And a lot of churches came to us and or came to me, and so you've developed a great model. How can we emulate this? So in 2005, I left full-time church ministry and started the Gatekeepers ministry here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And since then, we've grown our Gatekeeper program to where we take volunteers from churches. We train them in a state security program, which is what you would have if you wanted to do security at a professional level. Then we take those volunteers and we license them under the Private Security Act and then deploy them back into the churches. This more or less pushes the liability out from the churches and onto our private security armed guard insurance, and also protects the officers. We've come up with a.
I'm just curious if there is. I'm sure that there are pastors that would prefer never to have to actually deal with violence in their churches, but is it just a reality today, and is it irresponsible not to do something like this? I've been asked what was the first thing I thought when I heard this yesterday. What I thought was, I sure wish they had had a gatekeeper there. I sure wish they had had somebody who was trained and able to at least mitigate the threat as much as possible. It's like everyone says, it's not merely impossible to prevent these things, but at least you can have somebody there, which is what we call an initial responder. We know who the first responders are, the police and the emergency medical services, but too often it's too late when they get there. Most of these things are over in just a matter of 2 or 3 minutes. So we want to put somebody there. Do you have examples of where people you've trained have prevented violence at a church?
I can't say that they have engaged in any deadly force incidences. We've done this for over 10 years, our initial program, the Gatekeeper program. Done it for over 10 years, have over 350 personal protection, plainclothes personal protection officers in churches all around Texas, and we've never had a deadly force incident. What can I credit that to? Maybe I can credit that to their observation techniques. Maybe I can credit that to their proactive stance. Or maybe I can credit that to the discernment that God has given our guys and women.
Thank you so much, Chuck Chadwick in Dallas. We appreciate you being on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.